Valve and Sony over the years have forced a ton of developers to censor their games over violence, sexual themes. In one case, we even saw a game called 20 Ladies turned into 20 Bunnies. But anime games and visual novels are usually the types of titles I end up talking about, and a PS Vita game from 2015 was supposed to finally release on Steam. People have been pretty excited for it to finally release, and now it's not because Steam has banned the title after forcing the developers to censor the Western version. I have a few different things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So this is a TechRaptor article. It says Dungeon Travelers 2 Steam release apparently blocked by Valve. It is always very disappointing to hear when this happens because there are developers who put so much time and work and effort into their titles, and to hear about them being blocked by companies and on platforms, it's just very disappointing. There are not only people who work very hard to get it released, but there are also a lot of people who have been waiting for it, and at this point, for years. So it looks like a potential Dungeon Travelers 2 Steam release has been banned by Valve. While no official announcement was made, a SteamDB listing suggests that the game might have been rejected from the platform, although we don't entirely know why. Sometimes Valve will deny approval to a game looking to be listed on Steam. It happened to the infamous Super Seducer 3, owing to what Valve perceived as objectionable content in that game, as well as older indie titles like You Must be 18 or older to enter. Although we don't have definitive proof, it looks like something similar might have happened to Dungeon Travelers 2, a PlayStation Vita dungeon crawler from 2015. If a SteamDB listing is to be believed, it looks like the game was listed for inclusion on Steam, then rejected by Valve. Now, this is a game that a few years ago we heard some very questionable information about, and we weren't sure when this was going to finally release, if it was going to finally release on Valve, but back in 2015, the Western version of Dungeon Travelers 2 had 4 images censored. It says the Western version of Dungeon Travelers 2 will have content edits on just 4 in-game images, Atlas announced. These edits were made to adjust the Japanese version's overt graphics to within acceptable ranges for the game's mature ESRB rating. So there are many different reasons why this could be banned on Steam. It could be because of more sexual themes. It could have been because of these overt graphics. But we do know that they went into this and they were planning to tone down and edit at least 4 images. Now, they could have submitted this version of the game to Valve, and Valve could have said, no, it's still not good enough. You have to change a bunch of other things. But at this point, we don't really know because it hasn't been confirmed why it's been rejected from Steam. Now, I've had to talk a lot about Steam's inconsistent policies for years at this point. They allow games with gore, sexual themes, yet they still ban tons of titles from indie developers who can't fight back against their demands. You never hear about games from AAA developers being censored or banned because Valve knows they can't push these companies around and tell them, yeah, you can't create what you want or put it on our platform. So when it comes to smaller developers or more unknown titles, they get banned with no other information. Steam's banning has been so inconsistent, and I highly doubt it's going to stop anytime soon. I try to talk about these situations as often as possible, but here is another article from back in January that I had talked about. It says a dark visual novel classic was banned from Steam, and this article also brings up several other visual novels that have been censored or even banned from platforms. It says in an official statement, Just USA revealed that Full Metal Demon Muramasa's ban followed months of talks with Steam, explaining we at Just have always been transparent with Valve, ensuring the quality of our games does not suffer when we must adjust content to fit the requirements of Steam. We hoped we could resolve Valve's concerns amicably and ultimately deliver the game to many fans waiting on Steam, but Valve is firm in their decision. It says it is considered by many as a pinnacle piece of the visual novel genre. It dives into challenging and uncomfortable themes of war, violence, racism, oppression, and other atrocities for the sake of artful storytelling. Steam has never had a policy against bad things happening in video games, and in fact Muramasa is unequivocal in its condemnation of these elements, and then unfortunately it was banned and we haven't heard anything else on this title. It just seems like Valve didn't want to work with them, didn't want to find a way to get this on their platform. They basically just said, yeah, it can't be released on Steam, see you later. Unfortunately, this isn't something new. It's not something unheard of. They usually give developers one warning and say, change things in your game, and then when they resubmit the game, they just say, no, it's banned. We can't do anything about it. It says in June 2018, after adult game developers received confusing messages regarding the temporary halting of adult game submissions, Valve announced that they would allow everything onto the Steam store except for things that we decide are illegal or straight up trolling. And obviously, if we look at something like Dungeon Travelers 2, this isn't illegal content and it's not straight up trolling. Therefore, it should be allowed on the platform, but they are not consistent. They do still ban things that they don't think should be released. They still ban things that they don't like. It says prior to this, developers were forced to upload censored versions of their releases to Steam and offer uncensored patches through a separate website, usually their own. However, Steam banned users from providing instructions on how to access a given game's uncensored patch around 2017. This is absolutely absurd. They don't allow specific content on their platform. Yet they also don't want developers to be able to get the uncensored content to their audiences. It's just mind-blowing that not a lot of people really talk about this. Yes, obviously, a lot of you who are watching this video and who are on this channel care about this, and there are plenty of people on social media, but we're not talking about millions of people who would look at this and say, Steam, what the hell are you doing? There are unfortunately a lot of people out there who brush off situations like this and say, well, it's probably for the best, or, oh, it's just one game, it's just one indie title, but it continues to happen. And then we end up getting so much dumbed down content after years of saying it's only one game and it's only one title. And then we end up with games where, oh, you can't have sexual themes, you can't have violence, you can't have gore, you can't have all of these things, even if you're an adult. Unfortunately, I don't think that this is going to change anytime soon. I don't think that Steam is going to magically change their policies and actually start allowing anything on their platform. But at this point in time, Dungeon Travelers 2 does appear to be blocked by Valve and banned on Steam. If there are any updates in the future, I will pin them in the comment section. I will talk about it in another video, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video and found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.